I had a dream 2 days ago, and this is sort of an introduction to it. It was very profound, and I remember waking up frightened. I was actually a little unnerved, and because it's a reality, and I tried to explain it to my wife at some length, but when we woke up, I tried to talk to her and tell her about this dream. And it's something that, because of her age, she can't really 100% relate to it.
Part of what happens to you when you get to be my age, I'm really amazed at the way I've become such an isolate, a very separate person. I think it's hard to realize that your family's gone. And I remember when I was of this age, when I would just be around my town, hear a name like Epstein, a Jewish guy. And when I heard a name, I always could associate, I would go up to the person and say, are you related to any of the Epsteins in town that own the liquor store? And the guy would look at me and say, that's my uncle. Do you remember him? And I said, yeah. No, he had passed on. And so many times in town I'd hear a name, Fabricant, or Joel Axelrod. And I just remember that every time I knew the name, it would come up that that person was related to somebody in town, you know. And the same thing with my father, Manny Hochberg. People would hear the name and they'd say, oh, he has a son, right, named Jerry. And I think it's a wonderful time in your life when you, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's a wonderful time in your life when you've established these roots, you know. The guy, Mr. Cosberg. Do you remember the Cosbergs? And somebody would say, yeah, they own the paint store in town. How about Benji Nadelson? Nadelson, why, he owned a wonderful clothier for very high fashion men's clothes in town. Now I go back to New Jersey and everybody I know is gone. I mean, literally passed on. There's nobody. There's no remnants. And it's, what I'm trying to say is, I woke up in the morning and I was talking to Surilak and I said to her, you know, nobody knows who I am anymore. I'm an isolate. I'm a foreigner living in Thailand. And I said, and I couldn't be more foreign than if I went back to my own town, because whole generations of people are gone. And there's not a name that I could bring up or remember that anybody would remember, because the family's gone and because they're gone. And I think that's pretty strange. Why I think it's strange? I think it's strange because you may be the only living Hochberg around now, and there are not many people that would have any memory of me whatsoever. And I think it's this kind of responsibility that that I came from my mother and father, and I had relatives, and I had a town, and I had people that I knew, and they've all died. And I'm at the age now where the students that I had that are now 63, several of them have passed away and disappeared. So the word is validation. You know, you have no way of validating your life anymore, because anything you can recall or remember is gone, and you're an isolate, and it's a little bit like being an alien left on some other planet. So, I don't know if I'm saying this very well, but I woke up with the idea that anything I can relate to, any person, any memory, it's now gone. And if I was to take a plane and go back to New Jersey and the town and look for old familiar landmarks and a liquor store that somebody once owned, the businesses are gone, the people are gone, and I'm like a molecule floating around now without attachment. And I think it's that attachment that I miss, because when I met a stranger in my town and I bring up a name, he'd say, "Oh, I know that guy, yeah. He used to own the hardware store." And I'd say, "Yeah. Does he still own that store?" And he said, No, the store is gone. The whole family's gone. Didn't you hear about it? The kid died in a car crash, and his father, well, he had a heart attack, and he died a long time ago. So that family's gone. So that's what this is about. This is about it's gone. And you gotta be somehow in this brave new world, and you gotta face up to the fact that you're kind of stranded in this life now, and you're trying to put your life together and your memories together and who you are and who knew you and what you did, and it doesn't make any difference anymore. So it's a stark fact that I had this dream last night, and I woke up to it, and I actually felt really strange and I was frightened. I think I was frightened. I was frightened that I'm all alone. I'm not all alone. I have a wonderful wife, but I'm all alone with wonderful memories. I have good long-term memory, but nothing in those memories can be or would be or could materialize because life moved on. So I don't know what the message is. The message is I sometimes feel frightened and very much alone, and I'd like my mother or my father to come back and give me some advice about life, something very smart. But so when I try to explain this to anybody, if I try to explain this to my wife, she doesn't quite get it, But if I explained it to somebody who's 80 years old, they would totally understand the loneliness and the detachment from everything that made you, and all the wonderful things you did, and all the names you might remember. They're meaningless now. They're all gone. So take that for a piece of wisdom today.